Hi everybody! Hello Fantastics! How you doing? This is going to be a video about art supplies, and I want to talk about watercolor paper. Watercolor paper is a very important subject because if you want to use watercolors, paper is very important. Well, here on my channel I've done a lot of videos about watercolor paper, but I didn't translate them in English yet. They're still in Italian, so I will translate them soon, so don't worry. So it's really important to learn how to choose paper. In this video I'm going to talk about watercolor paper, and this specific watercolor paper, which is called Vidalon or Vidalon, or really, I'm not sure about pronunciation. Anyway, is by Canson and is a very particular kind of paper. I want to talk about this paper because I really love it. I've been using it for almost 1 year now, and I think I can talk about it with some experience. But before talking about Vidalon paper, I want to say something about watercolor paper. Just, the 2 or 3 main characteristics that a good watercolor paper has to have. The best watercolor paper is a 100% cotton paper. I mean, it has to be a paper made out of 100% of cotton. So no cellulose, just cotton. This mainly because cotton fibers don't modify too much with water, and with watercolors, of course, you need to use a lot of water. And cellulose paper doesn't react as well as cotton paper. The second very important characteristic for a good watercolor paper is the thickness of the paper. It has to be very thick, because if it's too thin, it's going to ripple and form a lot of waves with the water. So no matter if it's cotton or not, if it's cotton paper but it's too thin, it's going to ripple anyway. And the third characteristic is that it has to be really absorbent. So that's why the best paper for watercolors is cotton paper, because cotton is very absorbent. Okay, so these are the main characteristics that a very good watercolor paper has to have. But now we want to talk about Vidalon or Vidalon paper by Canson. I just said that cotton paper is the best paper for watercolors, and that it's true. And that means that cellulose paper, oh my god, I can't say cellulose, I'm sorry. Cellulose paper is not good. Usually cellulose paper for watercolors sucks. During the years I've been trying a lot of different papers for watercolors, and I can really tell you that the best ever is a cotton paper, but with 2 exceptions. The first exception is Fantasvale paper. Fantasvale paper is also by Canson and is a cellulose paper that I really love. I adore this paper. I've been using it for years, and I've been using it for a lot of different things, especially for illustration, but not only with watercolors. You can use it, since it's a cellulose paper, you can use it also with acrylics, with tempera, with a lot of different medias. But with watercolors is very good. It is one of the best cellulose papers ever. And the second exception is, of course, Vidalon, because Vidalon is a cellulose paper. Actually, Fantasvale and Vidalon by Canson are the only 2 cellulose watercolor papers that I can say I would recommend for watercolors. I never tried any other cellulose papers as good as these two kind of papers. Of course, if you know any other kind of cellulose paper for watercolors that you think is really good, please let me know, because I need to try always new materials, new supplies, because it's important. Research is really important. So since we are talking about cellulose papers now, I want to compare Fantasvale to Vidalon. They are really different. They are made of cellulose, both of them, but they are really so different. I will try to show you the differences between the two papers, even if in camera is, wow, it's very difficult to show that on camera. First of all, the difference is the texture. As you can see, I think you can see it, Fantasvale is smoother and Vidalon is not. Fantasvale, for example, is perfect for beginners because you can do a lot of mistakes and you can correct them because you can wash it. You can repeatedly wash this paper and correct the mistakes. And this is not a thing that you can do with every kind of paper. But the main difference is that Fantasvale, even if it's very good for watercolors, it's very good paper, is a cellulose paper which you can say that is cellulose. You feel it, you touch it and you say, yeah, this is cellulose, this is not cotton. Vidalon instead looks like cotton paper. I'm not kidding, I promise you guys, this paper is, wow, is amazing because it is really like a cotton paper, but it's not, it's cellulose. Okay, so now I'm going to read what it's written on the back, and it says, Vidalon is a traditional watercolor paper, cylinder mold and 100% cellulose. Surface withstands scraping, erasing and repeated washes. It has a pronounced grain that allows for a variety of watercolor techniques and allows colors to be displayed beautifully. So it is 100% cellulose, but it looks exactly like a cotton paper. And when you use it, the result with watercolors is exactly like a cotton paper. Really, not kidding. I promise you guys, I've used a lot of different papers, and this really looks and behaves like a cotton paper. In fact, Vidalon can be compared to one of the most famous watercolor papers ever, which is Arche by Canson. Arche is a 100% cotton paper and is one of the most amazing papers ever, one of the most famous, most used, I think is the watercolor paper. I promise you guys, I'm not trying to sell you anything here, I'm just trying to recommend you materials that I've been using for years and that I think they're really good, and I'm really sure I can recommend to you because I've been using them. I use them daily, and so I'm really sure of what I'm saying. So that's it. So the main characteristic of Vidalon paper is that it is 100% cellulose, but it looks and behaves like 100% cotton paper. It really does. So I have here some of my illustrations, and I wanted to show you the difference between the three different papers that I'm talking about here, so Fantasvale, Vidalon and Arche. This first illustration is made on Fantasvale paper. It was a study that I made with watercolors and pastels. And this other one here is on a Vidalon paper. The colors on Vidalon paper are much more vibrant. you can tell the difference. You can actually really tell the difference on camera. You can see it. On Vidalon, the colors are much more vibrant. These two are made on arch paper, so the traditional cotton paper, and they are perfect, of course, because it's one of the best papers ever. And this is made on Vidalon paper, and as you can see, between arch and Vidalon there is no difference. There's no visible difference between the two papers. So the most amazing thing about Vidalon paper is that it is cellulose, but is exactly like a cotton paper. It's incredible, guys. You have to try it. So guys, this is it. I just wanted to talk about these papers that I really love and that I use, that I've been using for ages now, and I hope this video was useful for you. Please really let me know what you think. I mean, if you agree with me, if you don't, leave me some comments down below. I think it's important to share knowledge, to share opinions. So yeah, let me know, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye. Ciao. Subscribe to my channel and share my videos with your friends, and click here for more videos.